Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kamga Reacts. My name is Kamga, your host, and today's video is a video from Obehi's Chronicles. Obehi's Chronicles is this channel on the screen, right? So I just found a video there that I thought was interesting. The past couple of recordings have been videos that have to do with immigration. If you've noticed, I'm then getting into a trend here because I am a Cameroonian, or else I'm from Cameroon, I live in the US, and I left just like 6-7 years ago. So I still have a lot of understanding of what happened in Cameroon. And I tend to meet other immigrants, right? People who struggle with immigration, people who have difficulties with their lives here in the US or other countries. I hear people talk about, I know people in different countries, Europe, UK, things like that, classmates, family, etc. So a lot of the times I hear some of these stories and I leave some of these stories myself, even with the American public, the people who struggle with life in America. This video caught my eye because of the title. It says, "I was trapped, but I found a way out. Immigrants can thrive abroad. Canada." I was like, wait. If you've seen the previous video, there's a video of somebody who was I did a reaction. I'll put a link somewhere up here. No, here. You're going to watch that. It was a video of someone who have been living in the UK. She felt like a loser. I don't think she is a loser. Somebody in the comments came and mentioned that I did not even get a chance to communicate that well on the video. I don't think she's a loser. But her complaint was that she took so long, built a family and done all these things that she wished she would have done something differently. Seeing this title, I was like, wait, somebody found a way out in Canada. I need to listen to this person, all right? I need to find out what Obehi has to say about this whole situation, and then we're going to get started. So let's get into the video.
Foreign is, when I hear people say, no, foreign is all gloom and doom, I disagree. It is not all gloom and doom. Now, let's look at Dr. Zoe. Morning, people. Welcome back to my channel. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Obehi. I just want to thank you guys for the love on the last video, but there are some things I want to correct, and because of that I'm going to be sharing my own personal story. So people are out there thinking that I am just using the lady's story to kind of draw attention to my page. I'm using it as a clickbait, but that's not the point. The point is, this was me a few years ago. Now I'm going to be leaving pictures because I don't have videos, but I have a few pictures. That was me in 2016, not 2016, in 2018, 2019. I was doing full-on delivery service. Like if you're in America, you know Favor, you know DoorDash. I was doing that HEB delivery where I would have to carry 6-8 cases to a 4th floor building to deliver to my clients at the time.
Yo.
And that was because I had no plan when I was leaving to America from Nigeria. So let me give you some backstory. In 2016, myself and my husband were jejely on our own in Nigeria, eating our life, chopping the life of our head.
We're jejely on our own in Nigeria, chopping our life. I like the way she says it.
When some person told us about America, they sold the American dream to us, told us how it was going to be nice for us to go to America, gave us a picture that wasn't true, or to us, it didn't work that way. The picture they painted for us wasn't what we met when we got to America. So on getting there, the first 3 days that we got to America, they don't fair collect our money, like $14,000 to $50,000. They don't collect them from our hand first, all in the name of trying to help us settle, trying to help us, get all the things that we need to legally live in America. So they took that money from us because we were naive, because we didn't have information, because we didn't do our research. That was why they were able to run us streets. Basically, run.
So, couple of things. I will be interrupting the video because this is a reaction and commentary video. I have to interrupt. If you want to watch the full video, the link will be below. I recommend you do it so you can forget about what I'm talking about here and you can just go and hear her there and potentially give her a subscribe. So, one thing that she's saying here that I think I said in the previous video with a lady who was a registered nurse, information. Information is important because the right information will help you make informed decisions. You need to know what you don't know. Don't go and say you did not know. It is your responsibility, it is your duty as someone who is new in the country to use discernment to find people or places or documents or information that will help you make better decisions in your new environment. I don't know how else to say this. Anybody who gets let me just leave it there like that. Let's continue.
North streets. So when I'm sharing stories like this, I am bringing them out just so that I can educate people, or we can educate people. Even on the comment section, we can educate people on, things that are applicable on ground, so that when you come, you don't come and fall victim or be taken advantage of because you are vulnerable.
Beware, be warned, don't fall a victim. If you know where that's coming from, then we're probably of the same generation.
Now, let me just welcome you guys officially to today's video. My name is Obehi. I'm a social worker. I'm a content creator. I live here in Canada with my family. I recently moved here. And on my channel, I share experiences. I share my experience, people's experiences, so that people can learn from us and then we can learn from each other.
Thank you for sharing the experiences.
So back to the story. So when I got there in 2016, they duped off of a lot of money. Yes. We didn't have jobs, so we were doing delivery jobs. But while I was doing delivery job, I had friends that were buying brand new cars, like brand new cars. In fact, this my friend bought a brand new car. She was going to finance the car, but they didn't give her, they didn't allow her finance the car because she didn't have enough history. So she had to buy the car brand new. And she was a registered nurse. She had a BSN, so she was a registered nurse at that time. And even as much as she was a registered nurse, she was still trying to, go back to school to be a nursing practitioner. That's because she was looking ahead to the future.
Vision.
To get herself.
Vision. We did a video on the channel where we talked about this young man. I think his name was Rush Osare, who built homes in Ghana. Vision is not the same as sight. That's something I said in that video. You can see America, you can be seeing whatever you're seeing, but vision is you seeing beyond the physical. You're seeing beyond time. Having vision is very critical and important in life. You need to have a vision for yourself, a vision for your life, for your family. I think especially, but not only limited to men, having a vision is very important.
Financially stable and have like a business out of that, her profession in the long run. So people were going on holidays, but we were literally calling money from Nigeria in order to pay our bills because we didn't have enough money in the States at the time. And while we were there, it was becoming a whole lot of trauma and pain and struggle. We were getting depressed, frustrated, because we were literally seeing other people who came from Nigeria like us that were doing very well while we were struggling. So we became very depressed. I was very upset. I felt like this is not my plan. This is not what I envisioned for myself. This is not what I expected life to be for me.
Can you imagine?
So one random day, a mother-in-law, my husband's mother, sent us a broadcast. Now, this broadcast had the shortage list for jobs in the UK. There was nursing, doctors, engineers, computer scientists, stuff. And there was social work. I didn't even know about social work at the time. So when I saw social work, I'm like, oh, nursing. I was thinking nursing. Do I want to do nursing? I don't want to do bedside. I didn't even have idea that there were
lack of information. Lack of information again.
other aspect of nursing that wasn't bedside nursing. So I'm like, no, I didn't want to do nursing. So I decided that, okay, let me pursue social work. And then I started doing my digging and my research. And I found that social work was a very in-demand profession everywhere in the world. And then I started applying for schools. So while I was applying for schools, I got admission to all schools that I applied to. I applied to 5 schools. I got admission in all the 5 schools in the UK, but I didn't get admission in Canada. That didn't stop me. And at some point, myself and my husband decided that the best thing for us to do was to go back to Nigeria to go and apply for visa. Wow. Now, this brings me back to a point where people are stuck. They don't want to start again.
I've never thought about this. This is the first time I'm hearing about somebody saying their story. I think I've heard about people going back, but not people going back to come back. People have gone back because they're like, hey, I came here for school. I'm done with school. I'm going back. But this is what I'm hearing here is they got to a point where they realize that to increase our chances of getting to where we want to go, we have to take a few steps back to go ahead. I don't putting myself in that situation, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Really, I think that is commendable. Yeah.
As an immigrant myself, and as someone who has been in an all-time low, to pick myself up back to being where I am now, I will tell you there's nothing wrong with starting again. There are a lot of people that will tell you they don't want to go back to school, especially when they come to a foreign country. There is nothing wrong with starting again. When you start again, you give yourself an opportunity to make better income. And by making better income, you don't have to walk around the clock, and your children will benefit from spending more time with you. I've heard a lot of people say things like, oh, they want to go back to Nigeria because their children are becoming wayward, or things that. Personally, I believe that it's because you don't have time to take care of the children. You don't have time to, parent them. Because here, you are the only one.
Listen. See, she has hit the ball on the head, because if you think about it, I don't know if I mentioned it. I made a reaction about Japa, Japada. The values that you have for your family can only be transmitted to your children if you take the time to transmit those values to your children. It will not happen magically. The school will not help you. The church will not help you. The hospitals will not help you. The teachers will not help you. Your in-laws will not help you. You, as the parent, you have the responsibility to transmit to your children what you believe is important for them to know. And what she's saying here is very key. If you don't plan your life to make sure that by the time you're becoming a parent, you can either choose to have one parent permanently at home or both parents not having to work all the time, what will happen is that you will have to put those children in daycare. You will have to release your hand from the day-to-day raising of your children to go and get money to pay for somebody else to watch your children. And those people will raise your children on their own terms and values. So what she's saying is very correct. When you have more time to spend with your kids, you can actually raise your kids the way you want to raise them. There is no lies. Nothing wrong with that statement. Which means that if you have the foresight to plan a vision of life that includes freedom from having to work in a particular location or being able to work remotely, then you can spend more time with your children. Man, this is huge.
That will parent your child. It's not like in Nigeria where there's a whole lot of community, where there are people, neighbors, uncles, aunties that will help you parent your child. Here, it is only you and yourself. So you have to spend time. And the only way you can have time and money to parent your child adequately, coupled with the grace of God, is if you have a good job that affords you maybe doing 8 to 5 or 9 to 4, and then you have extra time on your hands to engage your children in extracurriculum activities and, be there for them emotionally and physically and otherwise. So let me go back to my story. I'm just jumping around. Let me go back to my story. So yeah, I went back to Nigeria, and when I was going back to Nigeria, it wasn't like anything was clear. There wasn't a clear picture of what was going to happen, but we're going to go back to Nigeria to give Nigeria a try. While we were going back to Nigeria, I had my COS, that's the certificate of sponsorship. No, it's not COS, it's CAS, certificate of acceptance or something. The paper that was going to allow me go to school. So I had that to apply for visa, rather. The paper that was going to use to apply for visa to show that I had admission. So I had that in my hand, certificate to apply for Saskatchewan nomination program. So I had those 2 invitations, but that wasn't like, it didn't mean anything for me at the time. They were just documents, because at that time I didn't have visa to go anywhere, but I was willing to go back to Nigeria to give myself a try. And that's what I'm preaching here today. It's okay to start again. If you're somewhere and you look front and back and it looks like nothing is working, it is okay to go back to the drawing board. So
reinvent yourself as many times as you need. It's advised that if people knew that it's possible to restart your life at, 30, 40, 50, If you get to any point in life and you feel like, okay, everything I've done hasn't worked out, things are bad, you can start there to rebuild a new life. The enemy wants you to feel hopeless, dejected, depressed. But when Christ says he came to have so you can have life and have it more abundantly, life is not just about money. It's the peace in your heart that you know that things will be sorted out. It's the joy that you wake up in the morning with just gratitude that you are awake and alive. Even if you have a mountain of debt, you know that, okay, at least you're working towards something. So what she's saying here, I totally agree with it. You should be willing to restart. You should be willing to assess your situation and make a sound economic decision of, you know what, I'm going to move back to where I came from, where the cost is lower. Sometimes, I'm going to say this too, sometimes you don't even have to go back. You just have to move to a different city. You have to move in with like family. You have to drop down. You have to find maybe what they call roommates. So going back doesn't only have to mean going back to Africa, in my opinion. It also means looking at your situation and taking a step back, taking a cut. It might mean switching jobs. It might mean, okay, I want to find a job that may pay less, but then you have more hours to do something else or spend with your family. So the conversation of going back can be broadened to not just going back geographically, but also going back economically, socially. Maybe you now move into a city where you actually have family nearby. It may not be your best choice, but you have people who can help you. You might switch jobs. It may not be your best job, but you have the opportunity to grow in that job and have maybe more responsibilities or less responsibilities with more money. Either way, being able to make strategic moves, thinking long term, is going to help you in whatever situation you're in.
Went to school, did social work, and basically social work gave me another chance to being happy. Now I can go to work 8:30, come back 5 o'clock, have time to take my children for extracurriculum activities. Sometimes during the weekends, I'm able to take them out of city if they have activities out of city. My daughter is in Girl Guides, she's in gymnastics. My other younger daughter is in gymnastics, she swims. I have time to take them for these activities, and as they grow older, I intend to put them in more activities depending on what they like: volleyball, basketball. My daughter, if she decides that she wants to go into the competitive gymnastics, that will involve me taking her to other provinces to, you know, do this activity. But because of the kind of job that I have, I'm able to work that 8 to 5 and come back home to be there for them. And that is the thing that some families do not have. When you are
Mm-hmm.
working menial jobs, you have to work long hours, you have to work the weekends. So you don't even have enough time to be there for the children. And that's why at the end of the day, your children tend to struggle or tend to be the receivers.
Love that. Parenting is hard. These kids need undivided attention. You know, especially with I think my generation, I think millennials and maybe a little bit a few years before, we are starting to understand the value of intentional parenting, where you are in your child's life, where you're present, you are actually talking to them and interacting with them. A lot of people struggle as adults because of the way that they were raised. And if you're honest with yourself, if you look back to the way you were raised, you would probably wish that you had different kinds of interactions with your parents as a child. And those formative years are very critical. The child is young. They trust you, they listen to you, they want your attention, they love you, they admire you, they want you to teach them, to talk to them. And if you have a job that takes you away from them, you will never get those years back. And I think when people move to America and other countries, they are so enamored by the ability to make more money, to work around the clock, that you forget that you are earning a few dollars to sacrifice a whole life. And by the time you find out, it might be too late. So I'm hoping that anybody who's watching her video can reconsider and make a different decision to reinvent the way that things are going. Because the moment you can realize, okay, there's a problem, then you get an opportunity to make changes.
Of the choices that you made. Basically, it's the choices that you made. So what I'm just trying to say here today is that as immigrants, we can thrive in foreign countries. We can do well. Our children can do well. God is already in charge of your life because He helps you to orchestrate how you get to a foreign land. So when I hear people say, no, foreign is all gloom and doom, I disagree. It is not all gloom and doom. Now, let's look at Dr. Zoe. If you know Dr. Zoe.
I actually saw Dr. Zoe I never realized it was what we were talking about. A few weeks ago, let me see if I can put this thing back so you can see. Maybe maybe I'd never remember. Wow, I'm actually not surprised, but he is definitely growing in influence for the point that somebody can bring up his video. Yeah, it's great. I like it.
Is a doctor content creator. He lives in Calgary. He's an elderly man. I respect the man a lot. I watch his videos a lot. And when you watch his videos, you see that man has his life put together. And that was because he made some difficult decisions, some very hard decisions when he was younger. He was in Ireland as a doctor. He left Ireland because he knew that there were more opportunities for him in Canada. Came to Canada, registered as a doctor. He has his private practice. Doctors are working with him in his own establishment. I don't know if he has maybe one hospital or one clinic or two clinics, but he has his own private establishment. People are working with him. He is making money. He is happy. Whenever he likes, he goes to Nigeria. He travels the world, comes back to work, and when he's ready, I'm sure he has a retirement plan already. His children are doing very well. So when you are looking at people that are saying abroad is this, you have to jackpot with your children so that your children don't get bad, your children don't spoil.
Why do I feel that she watched that video? There's a reaction video on this channel. If you finish watching this video, you can go and scroll and watch it. Somebody said, if you japa for your children, you will have to japa that for them. I did a reaction to that video. So I feel like she has watched that video and she's talking about it.
Please look at people that are doing well. Take your example from them and use them as
Template.
an example to where you want to be. Leave those people that are struggling. If you want, like I usually tell people, I say if you want to network, you want to, get to know people, talk to people for your own betterment, you have to network up. You have to network up. Look at people that are doing better than you. Those are the people you are supposed to network with so that you can use their blueprints to get into where you want to be.
100%.
So my points today for this video, just to clarify that, one, I am not using that lady's story as a yardstick to bringing attention to my channel. And secondly, we can start again as immigrants. We can definitely start again. I have my own story of how I struggled, but this is me today because I took those hard decisions. I tell you, going back to school wasn't easy for me. It was the hardest struggle for me. I did it because of my husband and my family. So if you are abroad or you come abroad and you tell yourself that you don't want to go back to school, you don't want to do anything, you become complacent. At the end of the day, you definitely you definitely benefit from being complacent. That's what happens to a lot of people. They come abroad, they get a survivor job, they become complacent and just stay there.
Yeah.
And then you don't forge ahead. You end up being mediocre.
Totally.
So guys, that's all I just want to share with you today. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. Let's carry all our banter to this comment section. And I want us to be fair, be nice, leave your opinions. Don't fight anybody, don't drag anybody. Just leave your opinions on there. And I would love to read from you guys. Thank you very much again for watching today's video. And we'll see you again in the next one. Do have a nice day, guys. Bye.
That is awesome, Obehi. I think I'm going to subscribe to everybody whose videos I react to because I feel like they did a pretty good job. Let me see. Because the chance of getting permanent residence Canada. So happy New Year, people. This is another video, guys. My last video. Oh, cool. All right, let's see. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with the video you made. Anyone who feels otherwise should review the channel's history. It's not the first time you've created content like this. I recall you did something similar with Tina's video. I really appreciate your work because a lot of people migrate without proper planning. And when reality sets in, situations like this arises. Your video has been incredibly helpful to me and it has inspired me to apply for a second master's degree in social work here in Ireland, where I currently live. It's not like I'm looking for documents, but I need a job that can help me take care of my kids, just as you mentioned in this video. That's pretty cool. She says, thank you for watching my content on this. Sharing knowledge, masha. Oh, Moya, you're talking my story. Last year, 2024, was so tormenting for me. Last concerning my own story, I have to go back to the drawing board and start again. So always thinking. You know, this right here is sometimes when you find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in. Don't spend time in your head. Don't. Yes, the problem is there. You have to be aware of it. You have to acknowledge it. But whatever you're thinking about is going to keep growing. My pastor always talk about, like, even Apostle Paul tells us, focus. Whatever is true, whatever is good, whatever things are right, focus on these things. You have to capture every thought, all right, and bring it to Christ. So it's important to understand that when you're in a situation, you've moved, you don't have documents, your life is miserable, whatever the situation is, it doesn't matter what the situation is. It is what it is. Don't be thinking. Go to the drawing board, make a plan. If you don't know what plan to make, find people who are ahead of you, people who are positive, people who are hopeful, people who have similar stories to yours, people who can give you good advice from a place of love and respect. Use discernment. I don't know how to tell you to go and gain discernment apart from seeking the Holy Spirit, because that's the only way that you know how to see people well. But thinking about all your problems and complaining about them, not going to make a difference. I acknowledge people are on this journey at different levels, right? Some people are still where they still need to understand that that's not helpful, which is why I need to develop compassion to be able to communicate to somebody who is in pain that, listen, I know you're in pain, but this whole talking about your pain is not helping you. And I usually have a hard time with that. So yeah, what did somebody else say? They say, hello, baby, just on my video. I've been a fixed and confused trying to figure out what to do with my life. I'm doing SW degree, social work degree, as I'm also not passionate about nursing, but I'm not sure what the future holds for the profession. Like, you don't need to know what the future holds. High tension social work is a great profession if you're interested in taking on a position. Look at that. She's willing to talk to people. This auntie is going to go very far. She's already doing great. So, hey, I don't have anything to say. Yeah, I think this video was great. I enjoy watching it. I love her energy. I love her attitude. I love the message. I think it's a great message that you can start from scratch. You can restart. If you have to go back, you go back. And you can thrive in America or other countries. She's giving examples of people who are doing it. Listen, wherever you are, whether it's in Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, America, Canada, US, there are people who are successful in those countries. Wherever you are, if you look well enough, there are people who are successful. If you are not successful, instead of complaining and crying, find out those people and find out what they did and learn from them. That's why I love to read books, because people who have written these books have been successful in areas that I don't know. If I have a problem with money, I can't find a book about money. If I have a problem with relationships, I find a book about relationships. I learn and I grow. All right. And ultimately, the book that I recommend everybody reads all the time is the Bible, because there's a story and a lesson there about everything, and it's the Word of God. So, not to make this video longer than it needs to be, thank you for watching. Obehi, thank you for sharing your story. I've subscribed to the channel because I think it's great. Looking forward to seeing another video. And if you have a video that you want me to react to give some commentary, to share my perspective, please feel free to send me a DM, leave a comment, anything. Just find a way to send it to me and I'll react. All right. Thank you. Stay blessed and Jesus loves you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.